Hey, my Libras, this is Damien with HK Readings. I'm here to do your October general reading. This will be for Libras, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and or Jupiter. Cross watchers, you're welcome to the video. However, I will be reading from the perspective of the Libra. Take the message as it applies to you. However, you know your situation. Gonna go ahead and get into it here. We've got some pretty interesting cards that are crowning you. Let's see. Got the card of Rhodozite. And we've got the card of Menelite. Now, I mean, honestly, for some of you, you are being advised to watch out for, or you have had to heal from and recover from some deep psychosomatic issues, that have to deal with karmic imprints from your past lives, that has to deal with emotional wounds that you've experienced, and how it's led to healing negative thought patterns as well, because after those experiences, whether they stayed with you or not, you realize the way in which it can stay with you when you think you're over it, and that's in how it affects your life there on out. So if you're thinking negatively, or if you're bringing every problem you've had with say a past lover into the equation with someone who's trying to get to know you, those are the ways that we can just perpetuate this energy until it really does bring us to some mental instability or dis-ease, but I really feel as though kitty, stop, don't look at me like that. Anywho, yeah, I really feel like for most of you though, this is the stop it. This is the point of just the actual emotional healing. There may be very few of you who still have to get to this point, but that's what's coming for you in October. And best wishes for the completion of this journey. You know what I mean? The completion of the cycle. But I do sense for most Libras, it's this is just kind of where you already are. I would say for protection, it's also denoted in the card of Rhodozite to, if you have any crystals or stones that you really enjoy, that you feel brings healing and that protect you and that ground you, plant them, in your backyard or just at home somewhere in the ground, and at your workplace too, wherever you feel you could use the energy to have your sacred spaces that you may exist in or travel to often, carry, aid you and guide you in that purification, in that healing energy. You're using Mother Earth to help you heal in a very physical way. And many Libras are spiritual. I feel many Venusians are, period. Taurians and Librans, very spiritual. Kind of lucked out being a Libra rising and a Taurus sun. But what we talk about here with Menelite is the energy that comes. Why is she coming up? Well, we're gonna figure out, we're gonna pull some tarot. But Menelite is talking about the wise feminine energy and the connection to, the earth and, the wise feminine and priestess power, just a connection to it all. So yeah. And now that we, because I'm not looking ahead, I'm just taking the energy as I read each card. So now that Menelite is here, it's kind of showing, affirming that many of you Libras are at the point where, you're already becoming on top of your game again and blending the various aspects of consciousness, like I said, between the wise feminine between priestess power. I feel like the wise feminine would be like, you know, that eternally like spiritual energy, and then you have the priestess power that channels the consciousness through the mind, right? And then you have the earth, Mother Earth. So it's just like on all three forms there, you know, there's that level of balance, which, I mean, for a Libra, that's what it's all about. It's all about achieving a state of harmony and balance, right? And having those scales leveled. But this has come through you having to honor your sacred sexuality here. You know, it's something when we, you know, because we hear that all the time, like our body is a temple. And guess what? It really is. But, you know, I say it in that voice because it becomes a cliche that I think that because it's cliched, it is, you know, it's allowed for many of us to overlook its importance, right? Well, understanding the importance of that is like something that is bringing you into that wise feminine priestess whole earth energy. Is like not only understanding your sacred sexuality, but honoring it. Yeah, you've got the goods. And I think that, you know, as we've talked about in many readings, and as you know, just being a Libra yourself, or if you're watching for a Libra, like Libras are the signs that, you know, they love to love and love to give, and you know, it's a sign of relationships, and they just, you know, when it comes to romance, Libras are all about it. You know, Libras definitely use their, you know, live through their Venusian energy, but with that can come an expression of self physically, which ain't nothing wrong with sex and who you decide to sleep with, and do you. This is not HK reading to the slut shame, not whatsoever, because I mean, I think part of, you know, in a sense, honoring sacred sexuality is honoring who you truly feel like you should be sacred with. Like, that's not up to me, you know? It's really not. But so I just don't want anybody to like take the wrong way. But what I'm saying is, you're kind of pulling back from that, because you know a lot of people like to be like, oh, Libras are so hoes and sluts and just fast and easy. And no, Libras love to love. And part of loving is through something that is very natural. And I think that nobody would say that if Libras didn't have the habit, and I can say this as a Libra rising, like haven't had the habit of like just falling into it with the wrong people, you know? And I think if anything, I know I've definitely been associated as such just because of like the wrong people I felt for. Like, oh, they were with that person. Like, okay, well, you know, must be whatever, fast or whatever, because, you know, because of that person's connotation. And like Libras get blinded by love, and it's like, what are you talking about? No, this person is amazing. This person, I just love this person. Like, you know, just but like but this kind of comes into like, it's just making me think of like since I know the majority of my viewers are women, the pussy power, you know, and for the females, the penis power. Like, it's stepping it up just to say that, like, okay, well, I can be a little bit more selective with who I choose, because I can't be going around falling in love with everybody. And because it's not like Libras just go out and like give up the cakes or give up the D. Like, hey, some do. Like, that's what some are all about. Like, whatever. You know, as a Taurus sun, you know, I'm a hella freak too. Like I said, I've been there, you know. But Libras tend to like literally actually have some sort of feelings for the person, even if it's like, if it's one, if it's three, like, well, not at a time, but you know what I mean? Like, just however many people that, you know, wants to be calculated as. It's like, okay, well, you know, they felt something for this person. But I don't know, I'm kind of like going in on this honoring the sacred sexuality because I feel like it's a strong theme for our October. It's a huge deal. And especially when Libras, if you're single, all you may be wanting to do is fuck. Fuck. I get it. Well, if you got any advice from HK Readings on what to do, you better find a good website and go to a good store and purchase a good item and go home and do what you gotta do. Hey, you gotta love yourself better than anybody else can. Anyways, you're prepping for the Olympics, but honoring sacred sexuality right now is gonna be very keen. And yeah, it's very important. It's good and it's important that you've withdrawn as much as you have, because one of the things that you've also come to know is that you'll know when it's time to reemerge. You'll know when it's time to move. Oh, for those of you who have already made a move, like however many months ago or so, excellent. But what I'm getting now, so for those of you who see this reading when it uploads, or at whatever point you see this reading, that's when it's meant for you. Now is not the time to move, like physically move, like if that's what you're thinking about doing. If you haven't already, now is not the time to. You'll know when it's time to do so. You'll know when it's time to reemerge into the world. You'll know when it's time to start opening yourself up sexually again. You'll know when it's time to make that move to like a new city, because I feel like the universe is saying this because it's a big move or a big decision you're trying to make. Like I said, if you haven't already done it, you know, whether it's moved across town, moved cities, or moved states, wait. Okay? And don't be kicking yourself in the ass because it's something you should have done before. Timing is at work here. And those who made that first shift, you know, who were on that first boat, they made it out. Then they gotta, you know, load the next boat into the water, and then they can go too. It's a process, so you'll be on that next boat out, okay? Now let's go ahead and see what sharper wisdom we have. Bittersweet. So we got bittersweet and victim. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a little tarot on this to really just want one card to clarify bittersweet and victim. The Hermit. Okay, well, we talk about the importance of withdrawing and going within. Okay. So it may be very vulnerable. Now I'm not, and this isn't me trying to come for y'all or anything, because I'd be, again, Libra rising, I'd only be coming for myself too. I really want, you know, I just hope my intention shines through, like when I speak, because, you know, we're not face to face, we're on video. So I just want y'all to know that this is all love. But when it comes to the victim card and the bittersweet energy clarified by the Hermit energy, it's like one of the things that may be being illuminated for you right now in the darkness, out of the many things that we go through and experience when we're on that inward journey, like we've been talking about. We may come to realize that in many ways we have played the victim in a lot of situations, okay? Now, that's not to say that we weren't initially hurt or abused or abandoned or mistreated, but how we chose to carry ourselves and how we chose to carry interactions with that person beyond those experiences. You know what I mean? Beyond those experiences. And that's why, like in the beginning when we were talking about rhodesite and healing negative thought patterns that were transplanted down from those experiences that, you know, you had to deal with, or, you know, just the energy you took from it that wasn't being used in a healthy way, you know, like it was still affecting you. So no more victimhood is where you're coming to. And the bittersweet notion comes from like a sense of vulnerability that you're experiencing, not necessarily knowing how to feel, because this is a new way. You know, and it's like when you're on this new journey and you start to hit these different realizations and epiphanies, it makes you feel like very vulnerable, very strange, but like it's good. It's like, you know, that like you were being led to take yourself out of, one of the ways you were going to take yourself out of repeating, you know, the same karmic cycles was just taking care of whatever your role in it is. And that's what the hermit goes within to decide and, you know, study your role in it all, to change, you know, the external outcomes and events. And one of those for you was like just perpetuating, like after a situation happened, you know, continuing to have that victim mentality. I feel as though it's been very easy for those of you who it resonates with to play on someone's guilt, but you're stronger than that, and that's where you're coming into, and you're realizing that your strength is in your wise feminine energy, okay? It's in your priestess power. It's not in what anybody else had to try to define for you, you know? It's not in this world that's paternally and patriarchally ruled. It's not in this, you know, this masculine fucking machismo driven world. It's in your softness, it's in your sanctity, it's in your wise, you know, nature. It's in your nurturing nature. If you're extending it correctly, if you're doing it correctly, like you're balancing out again by just getting back to you and releasing anything that is attached to a form of hurt in the past, so it cannot hinder your progress in the future. And again, you are still in this hermit energy because you'll know when it's time to move. And that's physically and that's spiritually. You'll know when it's time to move. You'll know when it's time to accept love into your life. For many of you, you know now's not the time. And if you've been getting out there and trying to get back into the field, doing this, doing that, that's cool. But what you're realizing is when this video resonates with you and when you find it, that it's time, like, to just really, really, really give it a break, you know? To really, really, really give it a break. Because you'll know when it's time, so there's not so much energy being spent on, you know, focusing on that. You'll know. Love you, Libra.